I think that Trump will win by a lot because the MAGA people dominate the Iowa caucuses. As simple as that. These are very hardcore, longtime conservative people. Donald Trump's theme is, if you get me back into the White House, I will avenge the people who are ruining the country.
All right, so that was actually a couple weeks ago, so even a farther out prediction of what did happen. Donald Trump won by about 30 points with his prediction for New Hampshire. Bill O'Reilly back with us. I would be remiss not to say you also predicted on January 2nd, 3 weeks before it happened, the fall of Ron DeSantis. What say you for New Hampshire?
Well, Trump probably will win by 10. Although New Hampshire is a much harder polling state because you have a lot of crossover voting from unaligned people who can vote any way they want in the Granite State. But here's what most pundits overlook, and you hit it in your interview setting up the segment right now. Many Americans, traditional Americans, not particularly political people, but traditional minded, are tired of being told that white people are bad, that their tax money needs to go to foreign nationals to support them through life, that laws against violent criminals are not going to be obeyed, not going to be upheld, that the criminal is the one that should be the object of sympathy, not the victim. These are really deep-seated emotional things, Leland. And Trump is on the side of the traditional American. And that's why his support is much stronger than it was 4 or even 8 years ago.
Yeah, so many people believe that they've either been left behind or they've been blamed and that the fairness is lost in the American system. And Trump says he's going to fight for them. That said, the polling, I think we can all agree, is undeniable that Nikki Haley has a far better chance of beating Joe Biden than Donald Trump does. It plays out in every poll we see. Marist College, your alma mater. Joe Biden, for example, in New Hampshire, hasn't been Republican in 30 years. Joe Biden wins it by 7 points against Donald Trump. Nikki Haley would turn it red for the first time in 30 years. I understand the visceral anger that people feel. I get their real affinity for Donald Trump, who's going to avenge that anger and channel that anger. At the same time, though, if he doesn't win the presidency, it doesn't matter. Am I missing the point myself?
I don't know if you're missing the point, but there are just far too many things that are going to happen between now and November to make any kind of accuracy. I don't believe the Marist College poll. They are in business with National Public Radio. Their poll has been failing for the past 6 or 7 years. If you look back, it's an outlier poll. They have a huge gap that Biden beats Trump. No other poll in the universe has that. Nikki Haley could beat Joe Biden. No doubt about it in my mind. She's a much more appealing candidate than Mr. Biden, who is having trouble now, I understand, on a day-to-day basis. He is having physical and mental trouble. And I do not believe he will be the nominee this summer. But Donald Trump's appeal in the traditional states is so dramatic that Nikki Haley has no shot in South Carolina. None. So if she gets waxed tomorrow, what does she do? I can't predict she'll drop out, but she's got no chance at all to overtake him in the Republican primaries.
Yeah, our next segment together, you and I are going to talk about our mutual predictions about Michelle Obama and why this might become interesting. We'll compare calendars on when that name was brought up. I'm thinking, though, about what you said about 10 points of Donald Trump's victory. You in addition to having sort of an emotional sense of this, you've got one of the best political minds and analyst minds out there. How much does Nikki Haley either have to lose by? What is the most she can lose by that you would say, hey, look, we as journalists, but also to Trump supporters, you got to pay attention to this because she may also be channeling an anger and a feeling, say, among suburban moms who aren't necessarily that political, don't like Joe Biden, but also don't like Donald Trump.
The suburban moms are not going to really respond to a person like Nikki Haley because she's not for unfettered abortion. Nikki Haley is a fairly conservative politician. So the people out there who are liberal, they're not going to go for her. Now, the question is, what does Nikki Haley do if she loses by 15? I would pack it up if I were her. There's no reason to stay in. She doesn't have a shot. If she can come within 5 or 8 points, she can hang on. But the polling in South Carolina and the endorsements in South Carolina are really against Nikki Haley. She really doesn't have any pathway to beat Trump. She has no pathway to do so. So that's where we are.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.